What steps are the devs taking to combat power creep in PokeMMO? I think that, I mean, they just go so slow with things. So slow to the extent that players constantly complain about certain traditional Pokemon things not being in the game, or certain things. They're so good about custom balancing, and like I think the PokeMMO devs care about balancing above all else. If you want a full, like, no bullshit, it's funny, PokeMMO's old logo, it's kind of cringe, but it is kind of true. Their old slogan used to be no bullshit, just games, which comes off really like funny and arrogant and cringe, but it's, I don't know, it's kind of a good meme. But man, I super think that like PokeMMO is like the slowest, most methodical devs I've ever seen when it comes to like adding stuff and slowly and like quote unquote power creeping and making sure everything's like super balanced, like comes together, and they check things. Like they introduce a few hidden abilities here and there to like slowly roll them out and see how they fit in the metagame, and they'll brand them instantly, and like dude, they are really, the PokeMMO devs are so safe about balance. A lot of people would argue too safe to where it's so slow, but I really like it. I think that if you want like devs who care about balance, I have never seen a game dev care more about balance than in PokeMMO. Most game devs end up sacrificing, and it's not really their fault. Like we'll get into that in a sec, but like most game devs end up sacrificing game balance and long-term game integrity and long-term game enjoyment for short-term player happiness and short-term community enjoyment. A really good example of this is just things like League of Legends focusing on skin releases, skins, and new champs, pumping out new champs and new skins without taking a break and pausing to rebalance things like the Z-axis and rebalancing things like hitboxes and visuals and mechanics. And there's so many broken things in that game that have never been stopped and paused and fixed because it's just not worth it to League. League makes way more money if they just keep pumping out champions and skins, and it's a balanced enough. It's like balanced enough to where like pro play works and high level play. Like people complain, whatever. Like who cares? People are, League players are so addicted they'll just keep playing. Like it's balanced enough. It's like an abusive relationship. Like Riot Games. I really hate Riot Games. They really keep people like brought in just enough, and they balance just enough to keep them around, but they never take a moment to sit and pause, and like they are not aiming for balance. They're not aiming for a balanced experience, and that really saddens me. But I think PokeMMO is like incredible about like they truly want an integral balanced experience, and they could go a lot more sellout. They could go a lot more fast pumping if they wanted to. If they just pumped out content, it brings more players in, but it kills the game over time for sure.